Namaskar. Namaskar and good evening. Shri Pratap Rao Zadav, the Minister of State, independent charge of the Ministry of Ayush, and Minister of State, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Ved Rajesh Kotecha ji, Secretary of the Ministry of Ayush. Professor Dr. Tanuja Nesari, Director AYA. Dr. Shama Kuribala, Director, GTMC, WHO at Jamnagar. Esteemed clinical and scientific experts, participants, and all the Ayurveda enthusiasts, which includes me also. I'm privileged to be a part of AROHA 2024, the international conference on advancements in research and global opportunities for holistic Ayurveda. This day also marks the 8th Foundation Day of the All India Institute of Ayurveda, a significant milestone that offers an opportunity to reflect on the remarkable history of the institution since its establishment as an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Ayush in 2017. I'm truly delighted to see how AYA has made remarkable progress in just 8 short years. Founded with a mandate to foster evidence-based research in Ayurveda, the Institute has focused on 3 key pillars: tertiary care, research, and academics. Its dedication to blending ancient wisdom with modern science is paving the way for holistic health solutions which have earned Ayurveda increasing respect and recognition worldwide. The philosopher and healer Hippocrates said, "Let food be thy medicine, and let medicine be thy food." This timeless insight reminds us of the intrinsic value of natural health practices, which is why Ayurveda, India's ancient system of holistic healing, holds immense potential for today's healthcare needs. Ayurveda, derived from the Sanskrit words Ayur, which means life, and Veda, which means knowledge, is a traditional system of medicine that emphasizes balance in the body and mind and in the spirit. It advocates for natural therapies, diet, exercise, and mindfulness as essential components for maintaining overall well-being. Personally, I'm a strong advocate of Ayurveda and a holistic lifestyle, together with my very dear spouse, Kalpana. My association with Ayush began during the COVID-19 pandemic, a time when the value of preventive healthcare became more important than ever. During the second and third waves of the pandemic, when I contracted COVID, I was so confident on the healing power of Ayurveda that I did not take any allopathic medicine at all. Instead, I relied solely on Ayurvedic treatment and holistic approaches, further solidifying my belief in its healing potential. Just 6 weeks ago, I was detected to have H1N1 virus, and when Dr. Tanuja Nesari and Dr. Manoj Mesri, both of them came to see me, I was more worried about the fact that I might be transmitting my H1N1 to both of them. So I was trying to hurry them along quickly on their way, saying, "Please don't sit with me for too long." And they both told me that, "Well, we see about 150 patients like you every day." But what was most significant was that they said by the end of today, we are quite confident that the significant symptoms of the H1N1 will be over. It took me a little while to recover, but significantly what they said, namely by the end of the day, with core Ayurvedic medicines, I was well on the way to recovery. I'm a proponent of Panchakarma, and I do believe that in the next few weeks, I'm possibly a little late this year, but better late than never, that I will do my yearly treatment of Panchakarma as well. Detoxification and life optimization are foundational principles in Ayurveda and essential for each achieving long-term health. A healthy lifestyle is about making conscious choices that nurture physical, mental, and emotional well-being. In today's fast-paced world, it is also a strategy for managing stress and improving the quality of our lives. Ayurveda offers each individual the knowledge to essentially write their own prescriptions for daily living, prescribing the right time to eat, the right types and combinations of food, the appropriate supplements, the ideal sleep schedule, the optimal time for exercise, and even the best hours for productive work. About 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago, our daughter, Priyanka, who has her own special needs requirements as a special needs child, was admitted to the CJI Chandrachud and was in the ICU for 44 days with my wife standing by her all through. A time came in the course of the treatment when everything that the allopathic doctors were doing, and they were all good doctors, distinguished doctors, would be there from the middle of the night to the middle of the day. But everything that they were doing was yet not achieving that final frontier. So Kalpana turned around and said, let me manage her food intake. And so through the guest house which she was staying in, she decided to take over the course of her own nutrition, the child's nutrition. And within a period of 24 hours, guided by the wisdom of the good doctor, Dr. Nesari, we found a remarkable turnaround in the child's health. And so soon, she was on her way back to Delhi. But this is a continuing mission for us, because I believe that the essential teachings of Ayurveda, which is not just to deal with that particular ailment of that particular time, but to propose and to advance holistic well-being in terms of medicine, in terms of addressing core concerns of a holistic lifestyle based on nutrition, based on meditation, based on yoga, and based on what we have really imbibed as the teachings within our family through the generations. There is so much that Ayurveda tells us and reminds us as part of the intrinsic cultural training which we have received in our own homes. But I think this new movement of Ayurveda, which has been carried forward today on a scientific plane, enables us to pitchfork Ayurveda not just as something which has been handed down from generations to generations within our families, but to put it on a global map of matching the traditional with the modern, of matching ancient knowledge with modern scientific techniques and diagnostic tools. I would like to highlight 4 key postulates today as a curtain raiser for the conference. First, infrastructure. Is our infrastructure ready to support Ayurveda's growing demand? The infrastructure of Ayya is nothing short of impressive. With 2 campuses and 6 extension centers, Ayya has successfully served over 2.8 million patients through 44 specialty outpatient departments. This achievement not only highlights the scale of the All India Institute's operations, but also highlights its commitment to delivering high-quality care to a diverse population. Diverse in terms of culture, diverse in terms of region, diverse in terms of language. Moreover, AYA offers advanced postgraduate and PhD programs, which are vital in nurturing the next generation of Ayurvedic practitioners and researchers. These educational initiatives are essential for ensuring that the rich knowledge of Ayurveda continues to thrive and evolve in modern times. What truly stands out is the Institute's dedication to expanding its reach through its extension centers located in various sites, some of them prestigious sites, including the one situated at our Supreme Court. 2 years ago, when I took over as Chief Justice of India, I mentioned to Dr. Nesari that could we set up an extension center, a holistic center within the precincts of the Supreme Court itself. We have over 2,200 members of our own family, our staff in the Supreme Court. And I'm delighted to tell you that the center at the Supreme Court has grown from strength to strength, inculcating confidence in the ability of Ayurveda to transform the lives of our own people. These centers not only provide crucial patient care, but also play an essential role in educating the public about the benefits of Ayurveda. By enhancing accessibility and awareness in such influential locations, AYA has helped demystify Ayurvedic practice and to promote a deeper understanding of holistic healthcare among citizens, legal professionals as in the Supreme Court, and policymakers alike. 2 years ago, in fact, when I did my first Panchakarma treatment, I was treated at the Safdarjung Hospital. And there's nothing like converting people from a different discipline. Dr. Kanitkar is here, was a very distinguished Lieutenant General in the Indian Army. But the Safdarjung enclave, the Safdarjung Hospital Treatment Center, was designed to treat doctors, paramedical staff, and nurses, and to remind them of the essential need of healing our allopathic doctors themselves. They dedicate their lives to the service of the community. But who thinks about healing our doctors and medical professionals? So AYA, in that sense, began this unique initiative for the purpose of healing the healers, not healing the patients, but healing the healers themselves. Research also plays a pivotal role in strengthening the foundation of Ayurvedic practices. Research allows us to validate and adapt ancient wisdom to meet contemporary health challenges. The launch of the Ayush Research Portal marks a significant advancement for Ayurvedic research and education. This comprehensive platform houses an impressive collection of over 43,000 research articles, serving as a robust resource for scholars, practitioners, and anyone interested in the scientific validation of Ayush principles and practices. Such accessibility to research will enhance the credibility of Ayush and foster greater trust in these ancient systems of medicine. Drawing a parallel to this commitment to accessibility, the National Judicial Data Grid provides free access to nationwide judicial data. This repository includes information on over 3,000 court establishments across India, including the High Courts and the Supreme Court of India. Facilitating free accessibility of judgments for citizens and litigants has always been my priority as a part of the e-courts project. As of today, 38,000 judgments uploaded online on the e-SCR portal in English have been translated into Hindi, and about 11,000 judgments available in other languages. The second postulate that I want to address is how do we ensure equity and equality in access to Ayurveda. Talking about accessibility, we must link it back to our commitment to infrastructure. Equity and equality in healthcare are fundamental principles that ensure every individual has the opportunity to receive the medical attention they deserve. And I think the key in the last few years that I have known both the Ministry of Ayush, so well-headed and spearheaded by Vaidya Koteja ji, and Aya, under the care of Dr. Nesari, is that there is a fundamental effort to ensure that we spread the message of Ayurveda in terms of equality and equity. Recent reports from the National Sample Survey Office indicate that 95% of rural and 96% of urban Indians are now aware of our traditional systems of medicine. This growing awareness not only reflects the increasing demand for Ayush systems, but it also highlights the expanding role of Ayurveda in the health and wellness landscape of India, with yoga being practiced in over 1 crore households across both urban and rural areas. Access to essential treatments is a fundamental aspect of the right to health, closely aligned with Article 21 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to life. In our decision in Paschim Banga Khet Mazdoor Samiti versus State of West Bengal, the Supreme Court emphasized the state's constitutional obligation to provide adequate medical services to all citizens. This commitment to equitable healthcare is further supported by international law, including the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, which recognizes the right to the highest attainable standard of health. Article 12 of the International Covenant obligates states to take necessary steps to ensure that everyone can enjoy this right, reinforcing the importance of equitable access to medical care for all individuals, regardless of their geographical location or socioeconomic status. Given this context, there is a pressing need for equity in healthcare access across all communities. And I was delighted to learn from Kotecha ji that the union government has now decided to establish 10 regional centers across India. One of the great drawbacks of what we call as modern medicine, allopathic medicine, is the ease at which drugs are available across the counter. And this ease of availability of drugs has been one of the serious problems which is confronting our society. Because people tend to self-medicate, and self-medicate on drugs which should be used not as the first option, but as a matter of the last option. Almost every little virus that we contract at the turn of the season is self-limiting, because the power of the body and the mind which nature has given it is so strong. But yet in today's times, when patience is limited and people are becoming less and less tolerant, people are driven to accepting solutions which may work overnight, but which may damage the body and the mind in the long run. And that is where I do believe that Ayurveda has a great potential to remind people not just to attend to the problems of the moment, but to speak of your life and to suggest remedies which will have a long-lasting benefit to our existence as human beings. Therefore, I urge all of you, all stakeholders, to collaborate in creating initiatives which will ensure equitable access to Ayurvedic treatment and education. Ayurveda, like other traditional medicinal systems, has aimed to modulate the immune response, particularly in the context of public health challenges such as COVID-19. Research in Ayurveda has mapped its contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly focusing on SDG 3, good health and well-being. This goal emphasizes promoting health for all and addressing health inequalities. Additionally, Ayurveda research also contributes to SDG 2, Zero Hunger, by exploring nutritional supplementation strategies, and SDG 4, Quality Education, through the promotion of educational initiatives, self-care approaches, and training in Ayurvedic practices. The third postulate that I want to briefly speak about is the need for adherence to standards. Building upon the second postulate on equitable access, I would like to frame our discussion on the importance of standards in traditional medicine with this question: how can adherence to standardized practices enhance the credibility and efficacy of Ayurvedic treatments in today's healthcare landscape? The organized development and standardization of traditional medical systems, including Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani Tibi, are essential for ensuring their safety and efficacy. No drug is harmless. Historically, these systems evolved through informal practices by self-trained practitioners. To address these inconsistencies and foster public trust, both the state and central governments have implemented legislation aimed at regulating these practices. Standards and regulations are crucial for balancing cultural preservation with public health priorities, as they enable the safe practice and development of traditional medicine. These standards enhance the credibility of traditional systems, promoting their integration into modern healthcare. Furthermore, by linking these standards with sustainable practices, traditional medicine can contribute more effectively to global health goals, ensuring that these systems are accessible, safe, and capable of addressing contemporary health challenges. For example, the Drugs and Cosmetics Acts of 1940 regulates the manufacturing, sale, distribution of Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani medicines, ensuring the quality, safety, and efficacy of these products. It mandates strict guidelines for the preparation and packaging of Ayurvedic medicines, prohibiting the sale of spurious or substandard products. The Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisements Act of 1954 prevents misleading claims and advertisements that falsely promise cures for various diseases, emphasizing the importance of transparency and accountability in traditional medicine. In the decision of Kerala Ayurveda Parampariya Vaidya Forum versus the state of Kerala, the Supreme Court addressed the issue of whether practitioners lacking statutory qualifications should be allowed to practice traditional medicine under the Indian Medicine Central Council Act of 1970 and the Travancore Cochin Medical Practitioners Act. The court upheld that only those registered and qualified under these legal frameworks could practice medicine. It emphasized that public health and safety are paramount, asserting that even traditional systems must be practiced by individuals who are recognized and certified. This highlights the importance of standardized production processes and qualified practitioners to ensure the safety, credibility, and growth of Ayurveda and other traditional medicine systems. Therefore, I urge all of you to work together in upholding these standards, which will strengthen traditional medicine as a credible, sustainable component of modern healthcare. And therefore, I was delighted while looking at the models this evening to see the number of undergraduate students who are now being churned out of the institute at Goa and the postgraduate students who are being churned out of Aya here. I've been the beneficiary of the expert medical care who have attended by them to me. The fourth and last postulate is Ayurveda on the global stage. I was just speaking the other day to Dr. Manoj Nesari about his visit to Taiwan. And Dr. Nesari herself went to Geneva just last week. So the last postulate is, how can Ayurveda expand its reach and impact on the global stage? And what steps are necessary to ensure it meets international standards for safety, efficacy, and innovation? I address this problem because, and this issue because, Ayurveda today is not something which is in a cocoon confined to our society. But we are now talking about exporting our age-old knowledge, practices and traditions of Ayurveda across the world. But to make it acceptable across the world, we must meet the cultural parameters of countries ranging from Germany to the US, to the continent, to the global south, to South Asia, across the world. And we have so many of these representatives of nations across the world, including from Switzerland, who are part of this distinguished audience today. As the world increasingly embraces holistic and alternative healthcare, Ayurveda's potential on the global stage has never been greater. According to a 2024 report by Market Research Future, the global Ayurveda market, valued at $8 billion in 2022, is projected to grow to $26.16 billion by 2032, driven by increased awareness of Ayurveda's benefits, a growing demand for alternatives to allopathy, and rising disposable incomes. But I would dare say that the time will come when Ayurveda will not be regarded as an alternative, but Ayurveda will become the basic dispenser of a holistic lifestyle. The booming medical tourism industry, particularly in states like Kerala, further highlights sustained interest in Ayurveda-based solutions for wellness and healthcare. Kalpana and I were in Bhutan just last week, and speaking to His Excellency, the King, His Majesty told me about his initiative to set up a mindfulness city bordering Kokrajhar in Assam, in Bhutan. Now, I thought to myself that if Bhutan is setting up a mindfulness city, is there not a tremendous potential for us to use and pitchfork Ayurveda for spreading a message of holistic well-being across the world to expats who will come from across South Asia in particular, from countries like Singapore? But a primary barrier to Ayurveda's global growth is the need for scientific validation. Ayurveda has demonstrated effectiveness in areas like chronic disease management and preventive healthcare. Yet, broader acceptance requires rigorous clinical research to meet international healthcare standards. Recognizing this, the World Health Organization has called for greater integration of traditional medical systems like Ayurveda into global healthcare through its Global Strategy for Traditional Medicine 2014-2023. This strategy emphasizes the safety, efficacy, and quality control of traditional medicine, advocating Ayurveda as a credible system for managing chronic diseases, enhancing wellness, and providing preventive health care. So the movement of Ayurveda to be genuinely successful must move from ad hoc individual practitioners to institutional healthcare. Speaking for myself, I would be extremely reluctant to go to an ad hoc practitioner sitting somewhere in a corner of the city, but I feel so much more assured when I go to an institution, when I know that the drugs which are being given to me, the practices which are being advocated are validated, and that they are being pursued by people who are deeply trained and who have the experience and who have the data and the healthcare parameters to back their claims for efficacy. In India, the Ministry of Ayush has been pivotal in addressing those challenges by advancing evidence-based research through collaborations with national organizations such as ICMR, CSIR, the Department of Science and Technology, and DBT. Today's partnerships are perhaps a signal of what holds forth as the potential for the future. These partnerships not only push the boundaries of integrative medicine, but also enable personalized treatments through initiatives like Genomics, a pioneering effort that merges Ayurveda with genomics to create healthcare solutions tailored to an individual's genetic profile. combined with the establishment of the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar, these initiatives bolster India's leadership in traditional medicine on the world stage. I was delighted to receive a copy of Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan's book, which tries to bridge genomics with our traditional knowledge. Capacity building and training are equally critical. Developing a workforce that comprehends both traditional knowledge and modern research standards is essential to Ayurveda's global expansion. This involves extensive training programs which addresses biases and fosters a scientific approach within Ayurvedic studies. Sensitization towards global health perspectives, combined with skill building, is also vital to ensure that Ayurvedic practices meet international expectations for efficacy, transparency, and innovation. As Indians today, we cannot say, take it or leave it. We have to reach out to the global health scenario. We have to validate our knowledge with reference to global health standards and make our knowledge and practices consistent with what international organizations like the WHO require us to do. This conference, in other words, is an answer to these opportunities and challenges. The Ayurveda Innovation and Startup Expo here exemplifies the power of innovation, highlighting how modern tools like artificial intelligence are transforming Ayurvedic practices. Through innovation, practitioners gain more precise tools to refine their treatments, paving the way for enhanced applications of ancient knowledge in today's healthcare landscape. For instance, at the Supreme Court of India, we have partnered with other nations such as Singapore and Germany and Brazil to discuss the evolving role of AI in decision-making, exploring how to make these processes more transparent. In healthcare, AI has the potential to enrich Ayurvedic practices, harnessing data to provide more personalized care and furthering the credibility of Ayurveda in the global medical community. I would end by expressing my gratitude to the organizers of this conference for bringing us together to explore these vital discussions. I hope that these postulates will ignite further thought and forge a path for Ayurveda that embraces both tradition and innovation. Finally, on a personal note, when I contracted COVID in the first wave of COVID, and that was when the vaccines were not there, the Honorable Prime Minister called me up to ask that I was in court that morning, what happened all of a sudden that I disappeared from the scene. Very gracious gesture, and it requested me to speak to Vaidya Kotejaji. Mr. Koteja promptly sent me a wellness package which he had been developed. I must confess that at that time, I was not fully convinced, because as judges, we are always cynical and we all tend to scrutinize and ask a lot of questions. But I tried what Koteja gave me, what Mr. Koteja, Dr. Koteja gave me. And that was really the initiation. Thanks to my initial association with Vaidya Kotejaji, I explored the contours of Ayurveda further. Life gives you so many lessons. My wife has been very deeply associated with food synergies, about using a holistic lifestyle to further the cause of good living. We have both become vegans over a year ago, she more than a year ago. Me, I'm just a tail which follows the leader in the house. But over a period of time, what Ayurveda has taught us is that there is so much to treating disease and illness than mere medicine. We've come to realize through our conversations over the last so many months with these distinguished doctors that food is the greatest medicine. What we eat, how we eat it, what time we eat, and what season we eat what we eat is crucial to maintaining a balance in life. And life ultimately is all about maintaining that sense of balance. And this balance between Vata, Pitta, and Kapha is the ultimate aspiration of Ayurveda. And what does that balance tell us all about? That balance tells us about the need to be mindful of your mind, to be mindful of your body, and to listen to the signals which your body sends you. Too often, most of us miss these signals which our body sends us. Nature is an extraordinarily powerful agent of which we are only small specks. If you travel to Ladakh, for instance, you'll realize what an insignificant speck in the universe of nature that we all are. But equally, just as you realize how insignificant we are in terms of the wider scheme of nature, you also realize how powerful we have been made as human beings by this wider ecosystem of which we are a part. So I think overall, this trend, this movement in Ayurveda today reflects an aspiration of a global future of well-being for the communities across the world. India has received a lot from the world outside, and we continue to receive the benefit of the wisdom and the experience of people outside India, as so many of these distinguished international participants will bring to this conference. But equally, we have a lot to share. And it's important that our younger generation should not lose the knowledge of what has been passed on to us from generation to generation over thousands of years. All that we have to do is to tweak it a little bit to ensure that the acquired generations of knowledge of the past finds validation in the modern age, which is essentially an age of technology and an age of the knowledge economy. So my best wishes to all of you. I think I took a little longer, but I couldn't help it. Thank you very much.